I want you to take a second and just imagine your favorite food delivery app.
Oh, like the one you probably used a couple of days ago.
Yeah, exactly. Picture the entire infrastructure that is just running silently in the background just to get, a sandwich to your door.
Right. It's a lot.
It's massive. You've got GPS tracking every single turn. There are smartphones in the hands of every driver, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these complex routing algorithms constantly updating for traffic in real time. Plus, like massive cloud servers holding the whole operation together.
It's basically a supercomputer orchestrating your lunch.
Exactly. Now, I want you to imagine stripping all of that away.
Oh, boy.
No GPS, no smartphones, no internet connection whatsoever.
Just completely dark, technologically speaking.
Right. But you still have to maintain the exact same massive volume of daily deliveries across one of the most densely populated cities on Earth.
Which sounds impossible.
And you have to do it with near-perfect accuracy. I mean, it sounds like a premise for some dystopian logistics puzzle, doesn't it?
It really does, because, looked at through the lens of modern tech, it just seems like an impossible equation.
Right.
We assume that efficiency requires microchips and data centers. But what we are digging into today is a system that proves that assumption completely wrong.
Welcome to this deep dive, by the way. Today, our mission is to explore the legendary Dabbawallas of Mumbai and Karachi.
And this analog network not only exists, but it has been consistently outperforming modern logistics companies for over 130 years.
Which is just, it's wild. Over a century.
Relying entirely on human connection, bicycles, and the railway.
Yeah, we really need to establish the sheer scale of what we are talking about right off the bat so we can wrap our heads around it.
Definitely.
Based on our sources, we're looking at a workforce of roughly 4,500 to 5,000 self-employed individuals.
That's a lot of people coordinating without a group chat.
Huh, right. And every single day, they're moving between 175,000 and 200,000 hot lunch boxes.
Which are called dabbas.
Yes, dabbas. And these are collected from people's homes late in the morning. Then they're transported across the entire metropolis.
Usually delivered to very specific desks in these massive labyrinth-like office buildings.
Right. And this is the kicker. Every single empty box is returned to its exact origin in the afternoon.
It's basically magic. But, to really grasp how they move hundreds of thousands of lunches daily without descending into total chaos, we first have to understand why this incredible demand existed in the first place.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the why is just as fascinating as the how.
Right. So you have to rewind to Bombay in the 1890s.
Okay, setting the scene.
The city was undergoing this massive industrial loom, particularly in textiles.
Right, huge mills opening up everywhere.
Exactly, which triggered a massive influx of migrants from all across the Indian subcontinent.
So the population is just exploding.
Exploding, and suddenly you have this sprawling workforce commuting super long distances early in the morning.
Like long before a fresh lunch could even be prepared at home.
Precisely. They're leaving at dawn.
And I guess the concept of grabbing a quick bite at a corner cafe or going to a comprehensive office canteen.
Yeah.
That just wasn't part of the infrastructure back then.
No, not at all. Fast food wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Plus, even if there were cafeterias, you have to remember this was a highly diverse workforce.
Right, people coming from all over.
And that diversity is actually the catalyst for the entire system. We are talking about deeply specific cultural, regional, and religious food practices.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about getting hungry at noon.
No. You had vegetarian diets with incredibly strict rules about cross-contamination. Specific spice profiles from different regions. Dietary restrictions that a generic corporate kitchen simply could not accommodate.
So if they wanted to eat and not violate their beliefs or customs, what did they do?
The only way these workers could maintain their health and cultural practices was by eating their own home-cooked meals.
It's an interesting parallel to today, actually.
Yes.
Well, we might see a modern office worker refuse the corporate cafeteria because they are tracking highly specific macronutrients, or maybe they're following a strict vegan diet.
Oh, yeah, the meal prep crowd.
Exactly. But in 1890s Bombay, this wasn't about a lifestyle choice or convenience, right? It was an absolute daily necessity.
Scaled up to an entire metropolis. It was an uncompromising demand.
Wow.
You had workers who needed their specific food cooked by their own families, but they had to commute miles away before the morning cooking could even begin.
So someone had to bridge that gap.
Right. And in 1890, a man named Mahadeo Havaji Bache recognized this gap.
Okay, the founder.
Yes. He started a lunch delivery service with about 100 men.
Just 100 guys doing local runs.
But what is truly remarkable is how this informal gang of delivery men adapted as the city around them just exploded in size.
Yeah, the sources mentioned they didn't just stay a loose collective, which makes sense. You can't run a citywide network on a handshake.
No, they evolved into a highly structured institution.
Right. Because
they had to. As Bombay sprawled, 100 men operating on informal agreements just couldn't manage the complexity.
Makes sense. So what was the next step?
By 1930, Boche attempted to unionize the Dabbawallas.
Okay, 1930. That's pretty early for formal gig worker unionization.
It was crucial, though. They needed to establish territorial boundaries so delivery men weren't competing or, overlapping on the same routes.
Oh, turf wars. Yeah, you got to sort that out.
Exactly. Then, fast forward to 1956, they registered as a formal charitable trust.
A charitable trust? That seems like an unexpected pivot for a lunch delivery service.
It does sound weird at first, but it makes perfect sense when you look at the physical toll of the job.
Ah, right. Manual labor.
Heavy manual labor. They needed a safety net. The trust allowed them to pool resources to care for workers who were injured or support the families of those who couldn't work anymore.
Oh, that's actually really smart. It's like a built-in welfare system.
Completely. And finally, in 1968, they established their commercial arm, the Mumbai Tiffin Box Suppliers Association.
So that's the modern structure.
Yes. That formalized pricing, dispute resolution, and client relations. They basically built an entire organizational architecture from the ground up.
Out of pure necessity.
Yep.
Which naturally leads to the actual mechanics of how they execute this daily. Because here's where it gets really interesting to me.
The logistics.
Yeah. Meeting this incredibly diverse, highly personalized demand across a chaotic city requires a sorting mechanism that has to be completely foolproof.
And remember, no computers.
Right. Now, the sources outline a visual marking system, but I couldn't quite picture how it works in practice. I mean, how do you label 200,000 nearly identical aluminum cylinders so they don't get lost?
It is essentially a masterpiece of constraint-driven design.
Okay, break it down for me. What are we looking at?
So the dabba itself is usually a multi-tiered cylindrical tin or aluminum container.
Like those stacking lunch boxes.
Exactly, but the magic is entirely in the paint on the outside.
The paint?
Yeah, instead of writing out a paragraph-long address with a name, a street, and a postal code,
which would take forever to read,
they use a tightly controlled language of symbols.
Oh, interesting.
A dabba will have a specific color code painted on it to indicate the starting train station.
Okay, so green means one station, red means another.
You got it. Then there are large letters or abbreviations for the specific collection points.
So the neighborhood where it was picked up.
Right. Next to that, a bold number designates the destination train station.
Okay, color for start, number for end.
And finally, there are specific, smaller markings indicating the exact building and floor where the box needs to end up.
I want to pause on those markings, actually, because there is a detail in the sources that changes the context entirely for me.
The literacy rate.
Yes. The average literacy rate of a Dabbawalla is an 8th grade level.
Which is a huge factor.
So my question is, how does a system relying on a workforce with limited formal schooling manage to route these boxes through massive, crowded train stations without just, making constant mistakes?
Well, literacy is only a barrier if your system relies on written language.
Ugh.
Right.
By limiting the variables and using universal visual symbols, bright colors, simple shapes, numbers, and bold abbreviations, the Dabbawallas completely bypass the need for complex delivery manifests.
You don't have to read an address line by line.
Exactly. You don't need to read an address. You just need to instantly recognize a green circle with a number 3 on it.
And anyone can do that.
It drastically reduces the cognitive load.
It's pure pattern recognition, optimized for speed.
And they need that speed because of how the daily flow operates.
Let's talk about that flow. A collecting Dabbawalla picks up the dabbas from various homes, right?
Yes, usually on a specially modified bicycle built to carry heavy wooden crates.
They bring them to a local sorting area, group them based on those visual codes, and then load them onto designated train coaches.
The local trains are the arteries of the whole operation.
So the train moves them across the city, they're handed off to local Dabbawallas at the destination station, delivered, and then the whole thing is reversed in the afternoon. That's the overview. But the truly staggering part of that flow is where the secondary sorting happens.
Secondary sorting.
They sort them at the local station, yes, but to save time and ensure they hit their delivery windows, A massive amount of sorting actually happens in the luggage compartments of the trains while they are moving.
But wait a second, how is that physically possible? The local train network in Mumbai is notoriously packed, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredibly crowded.
And they only have a few minutes between stops.
Right, so they commandeer specific areas of the luggage compartments. The Dabbawallas work in teams.
Okay.
The environment is chaotic, it's often dimly lit, and the train is literally swaying back and forth.
That sounds like a nightmare.
This is exactly why the painted symbols have to be large, bright, and instantly recognizable.
Because they're doing this on the fly.
As the train moves, they are actively pulling dabbas from different crates, reading the destination numbers, and passing them to the specific Dabbawalla responsible for the upcoming platform. They memorize the sequence of the stations and execute this, physical, collaborative sorting ballet before the train even comes to a halt.
That level of synchronized teamwork in a moving, high-pressure environment is just incredible.
It's a marvel to watch.
But, a perfect logistical system on paper or painted on a tin box only survives for over a century if the people executing it are fundamentally united.
Absolutely.
Because, a gig economy app can hire thousands of strangers, but this requires deep, deep trust.
And that trust is the engine of the entire operation. The cultural cohesion of the Dabbawallas is something a modern corporation could never, ever replicate.
Where does that cohesion come from?
Well, the vast majority of them belong to the Varkari sect of Maharashtra.
Okay.
This is a spiritual tradition heavily focused on egalitarianism and community service.
So they see this work as almost like a calling.
In many ways, yes. There are no strict hierarchies or rigid caste barriers in their work culture.
That's refreshing.
And they also hail from the same small network of villages near Pune, meaning many of them are actually related to each other.
Oh, wow. So it's basically a massive family business.
Basically, yes.
You can even see that egalitarian philosophy in how they present themselves in the city. The sources note their iconic uniform.
Right, the traditional white cotton kurta pajama tunics and the white Gandhi cap.
It's practical for the sweltering heat of Mumbai, obviously, but it also strips away visual differences in status.
Exactly. It creates an immediate sense of shared identity.
Everyone looks like part of the same team.
They are a deeply tight-knit community. In fact, the commitment to their shared roots is so strong that the entire delivery network completely shuts down for 5 days every March.
All 200,000 daily lunches just stopped.
Paused. The Dabbawallas collectively return home to their villages for their annual festival.
Can you imagine a modern logistics giant just putting out a notice saying, hey, everyone, we're suspending all operations for a week so our drivers can attend a family reunion?
Wall Street would have a meltdown.
It really highlights how different their priorities are. And that deep community trust isn't just cultural. It's baked right into their economic model, too.
Oh, the economics are fascinating.
Yeah. When a new Dabbawalla joins, they don't just sign an employment contract. The sources say they pay an initiation fee of 30,000 rupees to the union.
Which is a significant amount of money for them.
Right. But in return, they are guaranteed a minimum monthly income and a job for life.
They are essentially buying into a franchise.
That's a good way to look at it.
On top of the initiation fee, they are required to contribute capital in kind.
Meaning gear.
Right. They must bring 2 bicycles, a heavy wooden crate for the tiffins, and their white uniform. They are self-employed micro-entrepreneurs who actually own their specific routes.
It reminds me of the old system of a taxi driver buying a medallion to drive a cab in a major city.
Yes, exactly like that.
You buy the right to operate, and then you're your own boss. And the hierarchy reflects that, too. It's remarkably flat.
Very flat. You have the Mukaddams, who act as foremen or route supervisors, and the Gaddis, who are the delivery men.
So no middle managers?
No. Any conflicts are resolved by a council of 20 Mukaddams who are elected every 6 years.
That sounds like a really healthy system. And this brings up a complex reality I noticed in the text.
I think I know where you're going with this. The physical toll.
Yes, exactly. The physical toll of that freedom they value so highly.
That's unavoidable.
If this is such a secure, lifelong gig with a built-in supportive community and a guaranteed income, why do the sources explicitly state that the Dabbawallas actively discourage their own children from joining the profession?
That's the hard truth of it, because from the outside, it is very easy to romanticize manual labor.
Sure, we see the neat uniforms and the cool logistics.
We look at the logistical perfection, but we don't feel the physical reality of the job day to day.
It's grueling.
Think about the gig economy delivery workers you might see in your own city, braving traffic and weather. Now amplify that.
Oh, man.
The Dabbawallas are pedaling heavily modified bicycles loaded with massive wooden crates full of metal tins.
That has to weigh a ton.
It does, and they are doing this in monsoon rains that literally flood the streets.
Right, the Mumbai monsoons are legendary.
In extreme summer heat and while pushing onto packed commuter trains day in and day out.
The physical exertion over a lifetime must be immense.
It breaks your body down.
And the economics, while stable, aren't exactly creating generational wealth either. Our sources from 2014 noted the average monthly pay was around 8,000 rupees.
Which was roughly $131 at the time.
Right, so it's not a fortune.
It is a hard life. They take immense pride in what they've built, the service they provide, and their independence. But like any parent, they want upward mobility for their children.
They want them to have it easier.
Exactly. They endure the monsoons and carry the heavy crates, specifically so the next generation might have an easier life. Perhaps sitting in the very air-conditioned offices they deliver those lunches to.
Wow. That really grounds the whole story, doesn't it?
It takes it out of the realm of just being a cool business case study and makes it deeply human.
And yet, despite the gritty, grueling reality of the work, this combination of flawless analog logistics and deep cultural roots inevitably caught the attention of global business elites anyway.
Oh, did it ever?
Which led to what I can only describe as the most successful corporate telephone game in history.
Ah, yes. This raises an important question. The famous Six Sigma myth.
Yes. If you have ever watched a TED Talk on efficiency or read a business seminar syllabus, you have likely seen the Dabbawallas cited as a Six Sigma organization.
It's everywhere.
The claim is that they make less than one mistake in every 6 orders. Sometimes they claim 8 million deliveries. It is repeated everywhere as absolute gospel.
And it is a complete fabrication.
I love this part.
It is a fascinating case study in how business folklore is born and accepted as fact simply because it sounds impressive.
So how did a group of analog delivery workers get slapped with a hyper-specific corporate management label?
The trail leads back to a journalist named Subrata Chakravarti. He was writing a piece for Forbes in 1998. He was, understandably, deeply impressed by the operation.
Sure, it's impressive.
During his research, he asked Raghunath Medj, who was the president of the Dabbawalla Association at the time, how often they made a mistake.
And Midge gave him like a casual answer, right?
Yeah.
Basically saying, we almost never mess up, maybe one mistake every 2 months.
Exactly. It was a conversational expression of pride, not a statistical audit.
Right, he was bragging a little.
But Chakravarti took that off-the-cuff statement and applied some highly creative math.
Uh-oh.
He factored in the roughly 175,000 daily boxes, multiplied by the return trips, and calculated that one mistake every 2 months mathematically works out to one error in about 8 million operations.
Oh my gosh. And he published that calculated ratio in Forbes.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so that explains the 1 in 8 million number floating around. But where does the actual phrase Six Sigma enter the chat?
That happens 4 years later in 2002 at a conference. A reporter was interviewing the president of the Dabbawallas. Now, Six Sigma is a complex, highly rigid corporate management methodology popularized by companies like Motorola and General Electric.
Right, it's a very specific certification process.
It targets a defect rate of 3.4 per million opportunities. The reporter, who clearly only knew the Forbes statistic secondhand, asked the Dabbawalla president if they were a Six Sigma organization.
And a president who has likely never read a General Electric management manual in his life has no idea what Six Sigma is.
None. The reporter explains to him that it is a corporate term for near perfection.
And what does the president say?
He basically shrugs and replies, "Then we are, just ask Forbes."
That's amazing.
And then the reporter takes that interaction and writes that Forbes had officially certified the Dabbawallas as a Six Sigma organization.
Which Forbes never did.
Forbes never did any such thing. There was never an audit.
But the buzzword was just too catchy.
Exactly. It got picked up by other outlets, academics repeated it, and it became permanent folklore.
It is genuinely funny that a global management buzzword was applied to them purely through a massive misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But, you know, as someone playing devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
does the fact that their perfect statistic is essentially bad math diminish what they've actually accomplished?
Not in the slightest.
That's what I figured.
The Dabbawalla's efficiency doesn't need a corporate buzzword to be valid. The real-world proof of their success is the sheer volume they move daily and the massive recognition they've actually received from people who study systems rigorously.
Like who?
Well, the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad did a thorough case study on them in 2005.
Oh, nice.
Harvard Business School added a case study to their compendium in 2010.
Oh, wow. Harvard studied them.
Yes, focusing on how they deliver high-level service with a remarkably low-cost operating system.
And it isn't just academics studying them, right? Massive modern corporations actively want to leverage their network. Our sources point out that by 2010, Bharti Airtel, which is a giant telecom company, hired the Dabbawallas to distribute advertising pamphlets alongside the lunches.
Paying them a commission, too.
Yeah, because no other network could guarantee that level of direct, reliable access to the workforce.
The cultural recognition is just as high. Global leaders in efficiency treat them as a required visit.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Richard Branson spent a day with them. U.S. Commerce secretaries have studied them.
That's a pretty wild guest list.
It gets better. Prince Charles was so deeply impressed by their operation that he actually invited a group of Dabbawallas to his wedding to Camilla Parker Bowles in 2005.
Okay, that is incredible. Imagine going from delivering lunches in Mumbai to a royal wedding.
This system works so incredibly well that it transcends its function and becomes a marvel.
It is a massive triumph of simplicity. I mean, in a world where our immediate default is to throw a new app, a heavier piece of software, or some complex algorithm at every problem we face.
We always look for the high-tech fix.
Always. But the Dabbawallas prove that sometimes the most robust solution is a bold color painted on a tin box.
Executed by a deeply connected community of people who care about their work.
Yes.
They optimize for reliability and resilience through simplicity, completely rejecting unnecessary complexity.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want you, the listener, to consider how that applies to your own life.
It's a great thought exercise.
When you are staring down a massive, complex project or looking at an overwhelmingly cluttered inbox, what is the simple analog color code you could implement?
How can you strip away the digital noise?
Exactly. Find the absolute most direct path from point A to point B.
That is the perfect way to look at their legacy.
Thank you.
But, there's one final fascinating detail from our sources that I want to leave you to mull over, and it really speaks to the future.
Oh? What is it?
As we've discussed, the Dabbawallas rely heavily on the traditional infrastructure of the city, specifically the bicycles and the old local railway trains.
Right, the arteries of the operation.
But the sources note that they do not use modern infrastructure improvements like the Navi Mumbai Metro.
Really? A brand new, sleek transit line, and they avoid it. Why?
Because they literally cannot fit.
Wait, what do you mean they can't fit?
The sleek, modern new metro cabins, the automated doors, the narrow aisles, they are designed purely to maximize space for the individual human commuter.
Oh, wow.
They do not have the physical capacity to accommodate a worker carrying a massive wooden crate loaded with hundreds of tiffins.
That's kind of tragic, actually.
So it raises a vital question. As our cities rapidly modernize and build these beautiful, tech-driven new transit lines, optimizing entirely for the sleek and the individual.
Are we pushing out the community?
Exactly. Are we inadvertently designing out the very physical space needed for the brilliant, hyper-efficient communal systems that help build these cities in the first place?
That is a lot to think about. Next time you see a food delivery app glitching on your screen, take a moment to remember the painted tin boxes, the moving train compartments, and the human network that has been quietly and flawlessly feeding a city for over 130 years.